Here it is. It's the NFL Divisional Round. There was only a few games, 4 to be exact. And there's the scores. Commanders beat the Lions. Eagles beat the Rams. Chiefs beat Texans. Bills beat the Ravens. But I let the AFC for last in that score tally because that's who I want to start off with. We had what was a masterclass in the Bills and Ravens, and then we'll kind of lead into the Chiefs and Texans.
Right.
25-27, one of the final plays of the game, Lamar Jackson runs off right. Mark Andrews not only fumbled earlier that game and lost possession, and the Bills recovered it, he's wide open for 2 points to tie the game and send it into overtime, and he drops it. Now, a lot of people are saying they want Mark Andrews' head, but Lamar Jackson, the leader he is, says, look, he basically said, man, we win as a team, we lose as a team. But what do you say about all of the people wanting Mark Andrews' bounty for that game, Nate?
You have to, it's obvious, as people that have never played the game or played any competitive sports, one in particular play does not win and necessarily lose you the game. It's a plethora of plays and things that lead up to that situation. Now, the Ravens didn't play good as a team and as a whole. There was a lot of negative plays, and they started slow. And again, the weather played a factor. But also played a factor, in my opinion, is that they should have kept running the ball with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry looked amazing out there. But, that's my opinion. But you don't hang that game on one player when a lot of the players I know it's a lot of plays that if they can have back they would have back. So I don't think it's fair. It's those two plays don't show just how valuable he was during the season and all the good things he did. We're talking about an all Pro Bowl player that has played at a high level. It's not right. Again, and I applaud Lamar for showing just that what it is, leadership, in regards to sticking up for his teammate, and just again, you win as a team, you lose as a team.
I agree, Nate. I mean, the way I look at it, there have been kind of calls that have decided a football game, yes. But at the same time, you have a whole football game. If you let that football game, and I hate to say it due to what happened in 2018, but if you let that one play and get to that point where that one play is deciding the football game, then you didn't do your job in the first place. But we have two competitive teams in the Ravens and in the Bills, and that's just what happened at the end of the day. Now you get to two more of the competitive teams in the AFC. We had the Chiefs, the number 1 seeded Chiefs, take on the 4-seeded Texans. And what looked like at the beginning a closer game than the Bills and Ravens. But then you get into a little bit of controversy, and I know you have a lot to say about this, Nate. The refs played a big part, whether anybody wants to admit it, the refs played a big part in the outcome of that game, especially when it was tied 13-13 or whenever it was tied, I think 14-14 maybe. Nate, what were you talking about with some of the greats in the NFL and some of the best minds in NFL in the conversation you had with them the other day?
Oh, well, earlier today, I partake in the 33rd team. This is the NFL's think tank led by Mr. Mike Tannenbaum, former GM of the Jets and of the Miami Dolphins. The head of officiating, who will be my boss pretty soon, Dean Blandino, and a bunch of other minds and so forth. One of the things that we actually came to the point is that we were actually going over the plays, about 5 plays from that game where there were unnecessary roughness penalties and on the quarterback. And it got to the point where, put on the spot, I had to ask the question. The question being that is it going to come to a point where the competition committee is going to use a form of replay in regards to unnecessary roughness penalties against quarterback to determine whether you can pick up the flag or not. And that's one of the hot topics of sort, because it's putting defensive players in a phone booth to where, again, you're out there paid, you're paid to stop the opposing team's offense. And we know the greatness of Patrick Mahomes and whatnot. Yeah, but it's some of the quarterbacks and whatnot, because they have a high priority of protecting these quarterbacks. Um, that it puts players in a situation where they don't know whether they can, like, hit them or not. It puts them in a situation where they kind of look like a deer in the headlights, if I'm going to be completely transparent with you, because you don't know whether to do your job or you're going to get fined, or to do your job and you're going to get a penalty. So it's kind of a tough situation. But we looked at five in particular plays, and whether people like this or not, this is the reality of it. When we use the replay, all of those plays were indeed personal fouls. Uh, in the fine print, it says that with quarterbacks, you cannot hit them in the head or the neck area. And that's what happened. And it's unnecessary force to the head and neck area. And four of those penalties, they were unnecessary, like, force to the head and neck area. Will Anderson, I think the gentleman by the name of Toto, and a couple of other times. Now, I do love the fact that they did not call the penalty on Patrick flopping on the sideline, but you got to also know that this game is a chess match, and because Patrick Mahomes is the quote unquote the poster child of the NFL right now, and going forward, he is the marketing guy, to sell. They're going to protect him as much as they can, and he's going to use his influence big time. He knows, he knows like anything. If he hits the ground hard, all he has to do is sell it, and he's going to get the call. So it's unfair, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to have to be worked on this coming summer and the off season, with the competition committee and the use of instant replay to help with the quarterback unnecessary penalty calls.
Now, I've seen a lot of fans. If you take the NBA, for example, a lot of their viewership has declined because of the lack of defense. A lot of people like a shootout game. I love a 50 to 50 score game every once in a while. I love that. But now we have it to where, because of the subjectivity of calls now and refs' discretion, it is becoming too much of an offense to where defense is almost becoming obsolete in the sport of football. We have now a decline of defense to where people don't even want to hit a quarterback anymore due
Exactly.
to being fouled, being fined, and maybe due to losing one of the biggest games of your career, the biggest game of the season. I mean, this was the biggest game for the Texans to win, and they very possibly well could have. It was tied up. There was a time in the game where the score was tied up, and it was anybody's ball game. And then you sort of have the refs starting dipping their hands in the pot. Maybe somebody's telling them something in the ear, like a ref in WWE, and the score gets out of hand, becomes 23-14 in Chiefs' favor. And now the Texans are out the ball game because, hey, what's going to sell more? Maybe a Chiefs and Eagles rematch? A Chiefs three-peat? What's going to sell more, Nate? Are more people going to want to go to a Texans Super Bowl?
What's the script? What's the script? You tell me the script.
The script? The Chiefs are 3-0 against the Bills in the postseason in the past couple years in this Mahomes-Allen rivalry. They have yet to lose because of the Lions' outcome. And, we want the fan favorite to win, yada, yada, yada. I cannot see the Bills beating the Chiefs simply because the Lions did not win their game, and they are the fan favorite of the NFC. The Chiefs will go on a 4-0 against the Bills, go to the Super Bowl, and if it's not an Eagles rematch, they will quite possibly three-peat and become the first team to do so.
Can I ask you this question? The Bills and the Chiefs played this year, right?
And the Bills won in the regular season. Josh Allen is 4-1 against Mahomes in the regular season. Yes, that is in his favor. But when it comes to the postseason, Josh Allen has yet to beat Mahomes.
Okay. Can I say something to you?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
All right. Last year before, last year, the Chiefs lost to who in the regular season and played who in the AFC Championship?
The Chiefs, they played the Ravens in the AFC Championship last year.
They lost to them during the regular season, didn't they?
Did they? I know they played them this year
Hold on,
and
hold on.
won
Now
in the
let's
regular
look.
season.
Let's look. Hold on. Let's look. Let's look. 2023 or 24? 4
2023.
AFC Championship.
If you're talking about last year, it'd be the
Yeah,
2023 season.
yeah,
But
2020 season, but it was
yeah,
played in 24. So,
yeah.
they beat the Ravens 17-10. Hold on, 23 season. Let's see.
You know I'm a man of probability, Nate. And when you haven't beaten somebody, I mean, the Lions haven't been to a Super Bowl, and probability showed they got absolutely smoked. And
Hold
the
on.
Bills have just been like miraculous this season. I mean, there's nothing I look at the Bills and I'm like, this is the conference championship team. I knew they were going to win their division. I didn't know they were going to win it that well. I'm telling you,
They didn't play. I don't think they played the Ravens that year.
they
Hold
must
on.
have not. But I'm telling
They
you, Nate, the script,
because the thing about it is they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals and the year before and played them in the NFC, or excuse me, the AFC Championship and beat them. Or no, what? It wasn't the AFC Champ. It was the divisional. It was last year's divisional round when they beat the the Cincinnati Bengals, and they lost to them during the regular season. They lost to the Bills this regular season. And if I'm not mistaken, did they lose? Was it a close game or
what, the
uh
Bills game?
mhm.
It was a 9-point game.
Okay. As much as I really love Josh Allen, he's a talented, phenomenal player. Patrick Mahomes is different. Patrick Mahomes is he's creating his own narrative in his own name. He is really chasing the GOAT. And he right now, if he wins this Super Bowl and they three-peat, he is in the conversation with Brady and Joe Montana. He's in that tier. He's in that tier.
Mahomes,
Yes, he'll be in that tier. 4 Super Bowls.
I think he might. I don't think Montana is the best quarterback in his franchise, but that's a story for
Wait,
another day.
the best
I will.
franchise. Wait, who's the and wait in
Who I
San
think's
Fran?
better than Joe Montana?
Don't say Steve Young.
Steve Young. And we'll have this as a show. This is perfect. We'll have a show
Okay,
about
yeah,
this.
yeah, we're gonna
But
have to
before
show
we get
this.
off into, yes, Patrick Mahomes is almost cementing himself to be one of the tops. But let's go to the NFC before we go too far off topic.
Okay,
Eagles, Rams, Saquon Barkley, 230 average yards rushing against the Rams in
that's
two
a grown
days.
man. That's a grown man.
What's going on there, Nate?
That's a grown man. Shannon Sharp said it today. If you can't stop a team from running the ball, what they're going to keep doing, running the ball. And the Eagles have the best offensive line in all of football. They have the premier back in all of football. Saquon they're going to tote that thing. They're going to tote that thing. If Saquon is getting you 200 plus yards a game, I'm force feeding them. Excuse me. Shannon Sharp said this um, on ESPN that when he's playing for the Broncos, that teams were always asking, "Were you guys going to ever throw the ball?" And he had Terrell Davis. He said, "Until y'all stop Terrell, no, we're gonna keep throwing. If we gonna keep running the ball. We don't need to throw the ball." And that's the thing what the Eagles are doing. Why pass the ball if you can rush the ball and control the clock? Running the ball is equivalent to those body blows in boxing. Don't body blows, excuse me, they're gonna start weighing on you, and then you just gonna have to give in. So no, the Eagles are doing a great job. Their offensive line are the real MVPs.
Now, I would give you my take on the Eagles and Rams, but I got a take that's a little bit better. Commanders, Lions, a game we thought would never end
Don't hurt
the way
feelings.
it did. 45-31. Jayden Daniels against the Lions. He goes 22 for 31, 71%, 299 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 16 carries, and 51 rushing yards. He is now one of 6 rookies to make the conference championship. Now, that's Sean King for the Buccaneers in 1999, Big Ben Roethlisberger 2004 for the Steelers, Joe Flacco 2008 for the Ravens, Mark Sanchez the next year in 2009 for the Jets. Then we have Brock Purdy for the 49ers in 2022. And now we have Jayden Daniels this year, 2024, on the Commanders against the Eagles. Nate, is this the greatest rookie
Yes,
quarterback
yes,
of all
hands
time?
down, unanimous, hands down. And Connor, if I'm going to do it again, I have to give you your flowers. Can I give you your flowers because you deserve it, because you
Thank you.
said all of this from the beginning about Jayden Daniels. You said all of this from the beginning. You said all this before he won the Heisman, about him winning the Heisman. You said all of this about when they took him number 2 overall, that he was going to be the rookie of the year because his game is better suited. You said all this. Your flowers are being given to you.
I would love to have a segment with the rest of the TDT team and see how well that goes. I have started
Good luck with
compiling.
MJ. Good luck with MJ. Good
I
luck with
have
MJ.
started compiling all of the negativity I have received for this, but everybody's saying this is the greatest rookie
This
season we
is
have
the
ever
greatest
seen.
ever,
And I
ever.
kind of want to compare it to the only rookie to ever win MVP in the NBA. This is a Derrick Rose type season in Jayden Daniels.
He wasn't a rookie. He was just a second year player. He's the youngest
Oh, was
player
he
to ever.
second year?
He's
Youngest
the
player?
youngest player to ever
Well,
win.
his rookie year was phenomenal. But Jayden Daniels, the greatest rookie quarterback of all time, goes and plays the Eagles for the 3rd time this season. You know what they say, Nate? 3rd time's a charm. The Eagles got the best of him in the first run. He ended up winning by 3 in the second run, 36-33 in a last-second attempt to win the game, and now he's playing them for a 3rd time. So quickly, Nate, what do we think about this three-peat of
There's
this team?
a lot of things that's going to take into consideration. The Commanders, they're not the best team as far as running the ball. Excuse me, defending the run. Excuse me. Um, and how it's looking, Saquon, they're going to get a good dose of Saquon. Um, I think the Commanders have just been hit. They've lost a guard, if I'm not mistaken. They lost somebody to injury. Um, but there's always this is the playoffs. This is a new season. This is not the regular season. New season, and these guys are playing with a different type of mentality and different edge. I was talking to a couple of my coworkers, and I was telling them beforehand that Jayden Daniels and the Commanders scared me. Being a former Lion player, it was like, why? I mean, Lions have the best record in all of NFL, all of football, and I'm like, it doesn't matter the record. This team is playing with fire. They have chemistry. They have confidence. Again, they have a quarterback that is not playing like a rookie, and they don't have nothing to lose. That's why they scare me, and they're going to let it rip. So it's amazing.
You were talking about Sam Cosmi, by the way. That's the guard that got injured. He just recently signed a 5-year extension, one of the biggest paychecks for a guard ever. But Nate, I would like to say, after what I saw against the Lions, if the Commanders can hold 2 really good running backs down in rushing, what makes you think they can't hold 1 really good running back down in
They can,
rushing? Now, he is the best running back of the season for sure. But what I saw last week, Nate, they have nothing to lose. Jayden Daniels is only getting better. And now we have a matchup that might feed families. Is it safe to say the Commanders win the NFC and Jayden Daniels becomes the first rookie to ever win their conference championship?
he can do it. He can do it. I just think the weather's going to play a huge factor. Um, that Eagles defense plays very, very good. Um, and them running the ball. They can run the ball. If the Eagles can run the ball and get their blocker or get their lineman to the second level, and Saquon can really just again have a big day, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.